time to talk all things football now, and joining me is the great Phil Moss. Mossy, thanks for your time. Firstly, the Olyroos, a huge disappointment in their loss. Where to now, and who can replace Vidmar if indeed he does get the sack?
Look, Matty, it's another lost opportunity to fast-track this group of players, and to miss out on Olympic Games is a huge blow to the development of our young players in this game. Look, there's any number of candidates. I'd like to see the role. Having been there as an assistant in 2007, it's a very different beast to club coaching, obviously. So there's a few candidates that I think are in line for that job. I think probably the most qualified and the best placed would be Ante Milicic, who is the assistant to Ange Postecoglou with the national team. I think he's done his apprenticeship, a proper apprenticeship. Although he hasn't been a head coach, he understands what international football is all about, and obviously he's well in line with Ange's philosophy and what needs to be done. If you go into the club ranks, there's the likes of Kevin Muscat, Tony Popovic, the Aloisi brothers, of course. I'd like to see it go to a young Australian coach who gives them then the progression path into the national team in years to come.
All right, let's go to the A-League now. The Raw v Adelaide United, Eugene Galekovic back for Adelaide. It's a huge boost for them. Here's
a statistic for you, Matt. Adelaide conceded 17 goals in their first 8 games. They've now conceded 3 in their last 7. So that's a massive turnaround defensively for Adelaide, and that is why they're undefeated in their last 7. 5 wins, 2 draws. And if they can stay undefeated in this game, then it sets them more apart from Gombau, because Gombau never went 8 games undefeated. So a massive game for Adelaide, but it's all about redemption for Brisbane after that disappointing 4-0 loss to Melbourne Victory last week. So promised to be a cracker of a game. Galekovic back is a massive bonus, as we said, for Adelaide, but I'm going to go with the home team in this one.
All right, the next one is the Mariners and Wanderers. We saw Luis Garcia arrive in Australia yesterday. Do you think he's going to get some game time?
I think he will, and this is a massive litmus test for the old debate that's raged for 11 seasons now about the Mariners and a marquee player. They've finally got a world superstar, although he's 37 and time is yet to tell whether he's fit enough to make the impact, but certainly you can't doubt his credentials and the career he's had. But this is all about how many people turn up to this game. I mean, so often in the past, the West Sydney Wanderers coming to Gosford has seemed like a home game for them because of the crowd numbers up there, and they usually fill 2 to 3 bays of away supporters. So to have Garcia even on the bench for the Mariners, this is the litmus test. Does a marquee work for the Central Coast Mariners? All
right, we talk about marquee men. Melbourne City, they've punted Robert Corrin. How much of a disappointment has that been?
Look, I think a huge disappointment, to be honest. And you know, you've got to move with the times. And Melbourne City are now probably the marquee club of the A-League because of the Manchester City backing. They definitely need a bigger name than Robbie Corrin, unfortunately. And this is nothing personal, of course, but he just hasn't lived up to the hype that a marquee should deliver for his club, particularly a club the size of Melbourne City. So I'd like to see them dip into the transfer market and get a really big world-class name.
All right, we'll skip ahead to the end of the round because it is the blockbuster game of the round. Melbourne Victory and Sydney FC. How do you see that one panning out?
Promises to be a ripper. Both teams coming off great results last start. Obviously Sydney winning the derby in the last minute. Melbourne Victory putting Brisbane to the sword, who are top of the table, still are. So this promised to be a ripper of a game. Both teams will have their Olyroos stars back, depending on what mental state they come back from that tournament. Obviously the disappointment will depend on whether Kevin Muscat and Graham Arnold lean on them to start the game or not, but certainly all the ingredients are there for a fantastic game of football. But we'll wait. I'll reserve my judgment until closer to the time to tip that one.
All right, we're certainly looking forward to it. Mossy, always great to chat.
Good on you, Matty.